Going on YouTube, Clover here back with another Scarlet Violet video, and today we're heading back into the Showdown Team Builder to spotlight yet another niche Pokemon that has found its way in the meta and can do well when put on the right team, and that is Gliscor. So, Gliscor actually just won a Regulation H tournament. It just won the Tommy Tuesday Tour specifically, and the team itself was piloted by ChefRich, and we're going to take a look at Chef's team and just see how he was able to win this kind of tour with a Gliscor here. But before we even look at the team, how about we just look at Gliscor itself and see what it is it can do right now within the meta. Ground flying typing, okay? If anything, that is a Sneasler answer almost, right? So if there was a typing that can wall out the close combats and can wall out the dire claws, ground flying is that typing. Imagine Landorus in this kind of format. Now, granted, Landorus is of course a legendary, so we can't even imagine that in the first place, but Landorus with this and Intimidate, Sneasler is kind of cooked. Okay, but we don't have Landorus, so we have the next best thing almost, and that is a Gliscor. And Gliscor is pretty cool for that reason, right? You can sit in front of the Sneasler and just kind of put pressure on it, especially when you have something like dual wingbeat, which is a good move right now because it can break through the Focus Sash. And this is why some Talonflames have also opted for the dual wingbeat instead of the Brave Bird, for example, because of that reason where you can just break through the Sash against the Sneasler. Okay, now the Gliscor itself is also a ground type, which means you have some pretty good immunity into the Electroshots from the Archaludon, and you can pressure the Archaludons right back with either something like a high horsepower or even an Earthquake here. And you know, you have some stuff against Gholdengo and Kingambit, you know, just by default, because these are the other steel types that are running around right now. And you know what's really cool is this ability, Hyper Cutter. So now you can't really get your attack stat lowered. So, you know, sorry Incineroar. Okay, so another one of those like scrappy anti-intimidate abilities. This is it. So Hyper Cutter, really cool in this sense, right? And then look at the stats. So, you know, HP not that great, defense very good. So it's quite bulky. SpDef is, you know, just about average because of the HP, you know, pretty much equal there. The speed, it's fast, but it's not that fast, okay? So there is some speed investment that is going to be necessary here if you want to outspeed the major threats, but very easily fixable with something like a Tailwind, right? So if you did go for Earthquake stuff, you could even just put something like a Talonflame here and just kind of go ham, almost like a Garchomp to an extent, right? Now, of course, Garchomp might be technically better in a lot of cases, but ground flying typing has that interesting niche right now because of for that reason against this Sneasler, right? Garchomp does not have that flying typing, so it's not as good. And then by having this flying typing and this move, you know, that means you're great into Rillaboom, you're great into Amoonguss, okay? And anything that wants to Tera Grass against your ground moves, you have the flying move to hit him back, right? So that's really, really cool in terms of a niche for Gliscor. And I think it's a very an overlooked Pokemon right now, and I think more people should try and make use of it. And there have been a few teams, and we're going to look at some of those teams as well. But what I want to do right now is at least take a look at ChefRich's team and see what exactly they were cooking in the kitchen. All right, so here is the Tommy Tuesday tour from the Limitless website here. So let's take a look at Chef's team here. So right away, we see a couple cool things. First of all, 9-1 record. Oh, that's very good. It's a banned Gliscor set, so that's cool. And there is the Earthquake. There is the Dual Wingbeat, as we said. And then we have Tera Blast, Tera Ice. Wow. Okay, so again, remember, you are weak to ice moves. You are a ground flying type. You're 4 times weak, actually. So having Tera Blast, Tera Ice is great for that reason. And you can start putting pressure on some of the dragons that are running around too, because you are also an ice type. And by doing this, you have some interesting synergy with the Ninetales now, because you have the Aurora Veil, because, you know, when you have the Tera Blast, when you have the Tera Ice in the snow, you're getting that defense boost already, and Gliscor already has a pretty good defensive stat, right? And then you add potential ideas with coaching from Sneasler, even though there's no Sneasler here. I'm just throwing things out there because you have seen this already with something like the back scalloper, right? So I do like this Tera type Ice. I think it makes a lot of sense. And then U-turn, you have a nice pivot move here, so this is pretty cool. I like that. And then so overall, it's just a pretty interesting set here with the Ninetales. And speaking of the Ninetales, again, Blizzard, Freeze Dry. Again, Freeze Dry really good into Pelipper. Blizzard, just a ton of pressure into the dragons overall. you get the freeze hacks, okay? That can win you a lot of games. And then you have the Aurora Veil for like overall bulk, which is kind of nice. Look at this Archaludon here. Again, solo Archaludon, no Pelipper needed, which means you're going to have to go with the Power Herb set. And you have the Electroshot, but you also have Thunderbolt too. So normally this would be something like Tera type electric for that reason. But it's okay because you have another electric move here with Thunderbolt and you have Dragon Pulse here. So you're getting a +1 boost with the Electroshot. And then this Dragon Pulse almost is like a Draco Meteor, right? But even though it's not, it's okay. So you might miss some KOs, but this is still like okay at the end of the day. Vivillon here gives you the Tailwind. So this is cool. So you have some nice synergy here with Vivillon and Gliscor because again, Vivillon is that flying type and you can Earthquake next to Vivillon because, you know, for that reason, you are a flying type. So you've got Tailwind, you've got Sleep Powder stuff, and of course the occasional Hurricane. And from here, you know, the instant Kingambit core is always pretty strong, no matter what kind of format you really have it in. But this is a Rocky Helmet Incineroar. You don't really see this too much. Some Incineroars do this, but the Tera Fairy is also a pretty nice choice here because, you know, the fighting weakness to the close combats. Now you go Tera Fairy, you get to resist that. And then look at this set. Fake Out, knock off Flare Blitz, Parting Shot. So it's two moves here, especially with the Flare Blitz now rising back into popularity. And then the Parting Shot, weakening the opponent. Maybe just repositioning your Incineroar out and going into the Gliscor, so a ground pivot option here. So this way you can whiff that ground type attack into the Gliscor. And then the Kingambit, of course, with the AV Tera flying is pretty cool. So now you can put this next to Gliscor. You can Earthquake next to it. Potential go for Assurance here. Oh, that's pretty cool. Assurance, Sucker Punch, Iron Head, which is great on AV Kingambit, and Low Kick. So is Low Kick too. So I like these two moves on AV Gambit. I think they're very important. Just the Assurance over the Kowtow Cleave is a choice, but it still makes sense. It's still quite good. But yeah, overall, this is a really, really cool team. Again, a Dragon Fairy Steel Core idea, and you know, you still have Incineroar for your positional purposes, along with speed control with the Vivillon. You have screens here, so you know you have a lot of cool tools on this team, believe it or not. And it's built well to support Gliscor, I would have to say. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at some teams that have also been able to use Gliscor besides Chef's team here. And then let's recreate this team on the Showdown Builder. Let's assign some spreads. Even though Chef didn't give us the Pokepaste or whatnot, doesn't matter. We can make our own spreads. But I do want to see some other ideas that you can use with Gliscor. And people have tried them already. So let's take a peek. Okay, so let's go into the LabMouse website here. So, you know, as expected, these are the kinds of teams that I would see. So not too many people are trying Gliscor, but the ones that have had success have had, you know, similar core ideas. So this was also used in Lyle. So Lorenzo had a pretty good result here, 8-3 results with Gliscor. Let's see what Lorenzo was running here. And we even previewed this team also in our recap video in the previous one. But look at this. It's coaching Sneasler. This is the way I suggested you might have to go with it. But look at this, Toxic or Poison Heal Gliscor. And then, you know, so that's pretty cool because then you can't get burned. So I like that a lot. And then Dual Wingbeat, again, like we said, high horsepower instead of Earthquake. So single target ground move. Then you have the Swords Dance here. So you can even set this up. You've got Rillaboom Fake Out Pressure. And actually double Fake Out Pressure with Rillaboom and Instant. This is pretty cool. And then the Gholdengo is your lone special attacker. Comes in, clicks Choice Specs, make it rain. And then all these guys come in and clean up in the back, right? So this is pretty cool. And again, the Tera Water is also nice. Again, the Ice Resist, you know, Eruption plays. You know, the water is quite nice here. So easily you can just coach the Gliscor here with, you know, coaching. And then go for a Swords Dance. So now your attack is like +3 and then you get a defense boost already. And then the Rillaboom can also do the same thing where you can Fake Out and set up the Swords Dance. Or you can coach the Rillaboom, coach the Deepult, coach the Instant. You know, you have 1, 2, 3. You have 4 coaching targets here. So, and again, it's nice to have some good support around Gliscor. This is one way to do it. So shout outs to Lorenzo for doing that. How about Mental Syndrome over here? This was also a pretty decent team. So similar ideas again with the Pult, the Gambit, and the Rillaboom here. But there is no Sneasler here. And I think you kind of want to have a Sneasler to an extent. You want to coach all these guys here. So... but Magmar is nice, so is Primarina, especially with Haze to be able to remove some of these Intimidate debuffs or for other setup Pokemon and Dondozo stuff, of course. So this is still pretty good. I do like the Tailwind idea on Gliscor here. I guess it makes sense too. But, you know, you have a couple priority Pokemon here, and then you have a Redirector. Can you really utilize Tailwind on a team like this? I'm not so sure. I'd rather have something else over the Tailwind if I had to play the team like this. And the Dragon Bolt here is also, you know, doesn't necessarily need the Tailwind on this kind of idea for this team, but, you know, to each their own. But this is another cool way to do it. I think you do want a Sneasler for something like this. Just in terms of one of the special attackers, I think you keep Magmar here and maybe just chuck the Primarina, and maybe you can even just put like Dragon Knight here with something like Haze, and I think that works out as well, right? And it's a Scale Shot D Knight, so I think that can kind of work if I had to, you know, just consider it like that, because again, you just remember like Garchomp Dragonite was kind of a thing, but I think you know, Gliscor can fulfill that kind of idea to an extent too, right? So that's my take on that. But not too many people are using it. But I did like Chef's team. I think the Tailwind idea with Vivillon next to it does makes a lot of sense, and I do think it has some synergy with Dragonite. So that could be another potential build that one could consider. But yeah, so let's go into the Showdown Builder, and let's go ahead and let's recreate Chef's team. Let's assign our own EV spreads, and let's test it out into the ladder. Okay, so we're back here into the Showdown Builder. So again, we're not going to change anything in terms of the sets or even the Tera types or any of the moves or anything like that. All we're simply doing is assigning EV spreads, so this way we can use the team ourselves and just see how strong and how cool this team really is. All right, so Vivillon, it's a Sash mod. Tera Ghost, pretty cool. Let's just go straight Timid. 252, 252. Nowhere else, nothing else needs to be said here. It is a Sash mod. Let's give it a quick spread here. Let's go with Gliscor here now. So a couple things you can definitely do with the Gliscor. I think you do want to go Adamant Nature here, all things considered. Again, the 95 attack set is not all that great, so you kind of almost want to max this thing. You do have a band there, so I think you can go 196 investment there and bring this up to 154. So again, hitting the third bump here is important. So again, if you're trying to get better at competitive Pokemon and you're not sure how to assign EV spreads like what we're going to do, make sure you comment below asking what are EV bumps. We will respond to you. We will reply to you. Otherwise, you can check back at our video last month where we created a whole video on what EV bumps are. So give that a watch if you haven't done so already. But also just simply comment and I will respond to you. But this is the third bump here. And in terms of our speed investment, I think we want something like this, where I think we want like about 137. This will outspeed at least the modest Gholdengos, so this way we can hit those pretty hard. And if they outspeed us, then we know that they're timid. So that's for informational purposes like that. And then you just put 1 point in defense, get this nice even number here. And then this 136, you can kind of just split this up. But I can go about 160 here, so this way this will be optimized for Rillaboom grassy terrain if they want to bring that against us, because, you know, they want to reduce our earthquake damage. And then we just dump the rest here into special defense. Nice little magic number 103, you know, defenses over here. So that's another cool benchmark there. But anyway, this is a very general Gliscor spread, at least from our perspective with the choice band. Outspeed modest Gholdengo, hit the third bump, optimize your HP for Rillaboom terrain, and dump the rest here into special defense. All right, the Archaludon here. So again, this is not an Assault Vest Archaludon variant. This is just a Power Herb variant. So what you can do, you can still do like modest 252, 252. Like there is no problem with this. And by the way, this will outspeed, this will speed tie your own Archaludon. So if you have to, you can take off 1 point here and put 1 more point there. So that's pretty cool. But you can also just opt for a little bit more defense if you want to. It is stalwart, so, you know, this will get past the Among Us shenanigans. But if you want to make this super bulky still and still super slow, you can still do this. Go to 107, outspeed Dragapult. Go to 116 for the second benchmark here. Almost max HP, and put this much in defense. This is enough to survive the close combat from a Sneasler without even Intimidate. The Kingambit here with the Assault Vest. So, you know, again, I just want a little bit of speed, maybe about 52, you know, just for potential speed ties. And I want to just go to about max, and then just 1 point here in your bulk, dump the rest here into HP, and that's really it that I need out of my Kingambit. Incineroar with the Rocky Helmet. So, I do like Tera Fairy. Let's just go Impish here. Again, for the close combat ideas, you know, just after the Intimidate support. Impish 180 is what we want. And then from here, just a little bit of speed here. I would say about 76 is good. So this way you hit the 180 mark after a Tailwind from a Vivillon. And I think this is all we want. 1 point in the attack and a little bit in special defense. Now, if you want a little bit more SPDF, then what you can do is just do something like this, where you can put that, right? So a little bit in the speed, just a tiny bit, and a little bit more into your special defense, so you have a little bit more bulk. You can definitely do that. So if you want to do it like that, yes, you can. So I'll leave it like this. Ninetales here. So with a Covert, Cloak, and Protect. So we're going to make this a little bit more bulkier. We're not a Choice Spec set, but I still want to go max speed Timid for that reason. Again, just having good speed here against some of the faster options. Be faster than Delphox, be faster than Garchomp, I think goes a long way. And then just get this defense to 100 here, right? And then just 1 point in the special attack and SPDF, and then just literally dump the rest into the HP stat like this. And at the very least, this is optimized against the Tyranitar Sandship, which I do expect to rise a little bit more after Nils Dunlop won that regional from this past weekend. So you never know. But anyway, so yeah, so some general spreads here, just in terms of Chef's team. So we've been able to just assign some general stuff. And now what we want to do is just kind of test this out, and let's see how the team plays, and let's see if we can really put pressure against some of those Steel types and those Sneasler teams. Okay, so he does have a Sneasler here, so we definitely want to try and bring the Gliscor. There is Dragonite, Hydreigon, and Typhlosion, Whimsicott, so this is a pretty weird team. He does have a double Dragon Core. He does have a Sneasler along with the Typhlosion that can put pressure with Eruption, thanks from the Sunny Day Whimsicott. We know it has Sunny Day. And the chip damage and, just the stones from the Stone Axe, not great, right? Especially against a lot of what I have here, but I still think we can manage. So he goes with the Cleaver and he goes with the Whimsicott here. So I wanted to try and use the Incineroar here because Incin looks pretty good into a lot of what he has. And we do get some Intimidates onto the Cleaver, which is nice. He goes into the Sneasler right now. So I wanted to just stop the Cleaver from attacking first and just to try and hit the Whimsicott with the Iron Head here, right? But he switched it out. So the Sneasler's been chipped. Good Protect there. We did want to create the pin with the Sucker Punch. He does go for the CC, but it's a non-stab move, so we are able to live it. But unfortunately, I aim wrong with the Flare Blitz. So I still want to get rid of the Sneasler, so I'm still willing to put everything I have into it and leave the Cleaver alone, essentially. So I just want to preserve the Gambit, go into the Ninetales now, not take another CC. So I go for the Terry Fairy. He doesn't bite, and I go for Flare Blitz here, and it does not pay off there in that sense, right? So I could have even knocked off, but it's a hard play to make in that sense. So Blizzard's pretty good into Cleaver, a little bit more damage. He goes for the Stone Axe here, but I'm still trying to pin the Typhlosion shot because I don't want him to go into the Whimsicott and click Tailwind Eruption stuff or Tailwind Heat Wave, right? That would be the end of me. So I still always want to focus on this Typhlosion. I get the Lucky Freeze, not that it would matter, because again, I was not going for the knockoff regardless, right? So now he can't do his Eruption stuff with Tailwinds. Now it's just Whimsicott and Sneasler. So I was not going to give him that KO to go into that. So just spam Blizzard. Even if he goes the Sunny Day, that means no Tailwind, and that means free hard-hitting Flare Blitz into whatever he had left. So we were able to pick up the dub there. But yeah, overall, we didn't necessarily need Gliscor, but just better, a little bit more better overall play helped us win that one. All right, so this is against Bread Pudding here. We ran into them on ladder. So shout out to Bread Pudding. We actually got to message them a little bit later. But this is a pretty cool team. He's got Whimsicott with the Blood Moon and Gholdengo and the Archaludon here. Very interesting team. I wonder what the D-Knight set is. But this might even be AV Ursaluna. You never know with what they're trying to do right now, especially with the rise of that Assault Vest Vacuum Wave set. But either way, I still think Gliscor looks pretty good here. It looks good against 3 of his Pokemon there, technically 4. So I want to go first into Ninetales and Kingambit just to see what he might try and do if he even wants to lead instant stuff, right? So Extreme Speed from the D-Knight into the Ninetales, that's okay. I want to set up my build now, and it's Electroshot Archaludon, which means no Assault Vest because, again, there's no Pelipper here. So he ignores the Kingambit, so my Assurance doesn't really get value there. He still goes into the Ninetales. I probably should have just protected there and not let it die immediately. So that's on me. But again, a little bit more damage into the D-Knight here. Now, I do go Gliscor now, and that's a mistake because I should have just used it as a pivot option into his Electroshot because that's exactly what he's charging up. but I don't have a choice right now. I just go for Earthquake to try and do some big damage here. And that means I do have to take the Electroshot, but I know I can live it because I have the Veil up. I just need to make sure that I do pin his slots there. So he goes into the Whims, and we're just able to remove that. Now it's just D-Knight Archaludon here. So he protects Archaludon, and he goes for the E-Speed into the Kingambit. I do take it, which is good, but I go for the low kick instead. So good protect on the Archaludon. But yeah, he's playing better than us right now. So we're just kind of have to manage. He goes E-Speed into our Gliscor that comes in. D-Pulse is a hard-hitting move. Now I go for Electroshot into his D-Knight. But yeah, Gliscor is good against Archaludon, but here comes the Gholdengo. So now we have to see the speed tier. He does go first, so that means he is definitely a timid Gholdengo, and he's Tera Fairy, so that's not good for me because I have a Gambit in the back. But we do get the survival, we do get the Earthquake off, so that's nice there. And he does pick up both here, but it doesn't matter because Kingambit can easily just clean this up. I don't think the crit per se mattered from this range, but because, you know, we are max adamant 252, but we are able to pull that one up, but, you know, in a lucky sense of fashion, especially after that Earthquake crit there. But yeah, shout outs to Bread Pudding for, you know, that good game there. Okay, this is another interesting team. He's got the Indeedee Delphox combination. He has the Sneasler Final Gambit stuff with the Annihilate. I don't know that's Final Gambit. And then he's got Primarina here. And then the interesting choice is the Tyranitar. I don't know why there's a Tyranitar on this team, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, look how good Gliscor looks here. Again, you have the Earthquake against 1, 2, 3 Pokemon here. Then you have the dual wingbeat against even more options, right? You just got to worry about the Primarina. So all in all, we have the tools that we need against a lot of what he has here, especially when we have the Archaludon for the Primarina. So I kind of want to just start strong with Vivillon Gliscor here and just want to see what he wants to leave it. So Intimidate, Annihilate, this is a Final Gambit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Incin here. I don't care about giving him Defiant because I know he wants to go for this. But he went for the Vivillon. That's the strange thing about this, right? So that means Sleep Powder into the Indeedee, which is fine by me, right? I thought he would try that into the Gliscor, but yeah, to each their own. So I don't want the Vivillon to die to the sand. I want it to go into Archaludon now. He goes Tera Fairy for some reason. Maybe thinking the Incin wants to KO that. I could care less for that one. I just need the Parting Shot on the Tyranitar, which I do. So that's good for me. No flinch. And now we go into Gliscor. It looks really good against T-Tar here. And now he can go into Delphox. That's fine. But, you know, I just go for the U-turn because I think he would switch. Just wasn't sure what he wanted to switch into. Now I go Incin, and now the Archaludon can go for the Electroshot here, and we get the free kill into Delphox. So no expanding force shenanigans for you, and that means Tyranitar comes back in, and then we can just keep cycling the Intimidates and whatnot. We didn't even necessarily need the Gliscor, but the Gliscor would have just easily cleaned this up here, and, you know, our opponent had no choice but to really forfeit here. So yeah, again, the position was important, and we were able to get that because Incineroar is so good. Okay, this one is, you know, Talonflame, Garchomp, the Gardevoir, Gholdengo stuff. That's pretty standard as a core. I think more people should use that core, especially Gardevoir. Pretty cool niche, especially with Imprison Trick Room and then the Fairy move. But the interesting choice there is the Rotomoa and the Samurott there. But yeah, to each their own. So Talonflame, Gholdengo here. This is why Archaludon Ninetales is also pretty good into a lot of his team. So he can go Tailwind and whatnot. And this is probably also where I should have Tera Watered here instead of letting my Ninetales die for free. So that's on me, actually. But I still wanted to at least preserve the Tera. So Electroshot still gets a free kill into the Talonflame here. He did do a lot of damage to my Archaludon. But now we get to go into our good old reliable Kingambit here to pressure the Gholdengo slot. I kind of want to just bait that. So I go Tera Ghost Archaludon here. He protects Gholdengo. I knew he would. And he did go for the Earthquake, so I need to remove my Steel weakness, and I did, and that means free Dragon Pulse into the Chomp there, and we pick up the KO. So that's a great play from us. And now the Gholdengo is stuck here at -1. He does protect Samurott, but again, I do protect Archaludon because I thought he might go for it, and he did. And there's one more turn of Tailwind left. He sees the Sleep Powder, but this is what's really cool about this. Okay, he goes Tera Grass, so now he can't go Tera the Gholdengo now, right? And now, because he went Tera Grass, now I can bring in, guess what, the Gliscor. Okay, because Gliscor looks really good. I'm sorry, the Kingambit, not the Gliscor here. So he protects Gholdengo. That's fine because again, all we have to really do is just pin the slot with the Sucker Punch and then just Hurricane the Samurott anyway. Because again, it just drops because of the Tera Grass. So now, you already know what comes next. You just click Sucker Punch and the Gholdengo dies. But yeah, that was pretty straightforward, more or less, as well. All you have to really do was just wait out the Talonflame Dango stuff. Should I have Tera watered the Ninetales? Yeah, sure, I should have, but I did not, and we were still able to pick that up. But that one, you definitely want to Tera water the Ninetales there. All right, but anyway, there's the team right there. So honestly, the team is pretty cool. I do like it, and it's a pretty cool global challenge team too. So if you need something, here you go. Pick this up. Gliscor looking really good right now into a lot of the meta at the moment. It's a pretty cool niche. I do respect the band set. And, you know, the Archaludon with the power also looks pretty strong. Now, you can go 252, 252 on that Archaludon. I don't mind that at all, but I do always like to play my Archaludon with some bulk, especially when I have Aurora Veil Ninetales, okay? The Vivillon does what the Vivillon's supposed to do, and the Incin also does what Incin is supposed to do. Just pivot in and set up and parting shot, and you're just able to get the position you need, and from there, you do what has to be done. All right, so shout outs to ChefRich. Really cool Gliscor team. Good use of another niche Pokemon in regulationH. So yeah, I propose a question to you guys. What do you think of Gliscor right now in regulationH? What have you tried with it already? But yeah, if this is something that you need help with and you need some coaching assistance, feel free to sign up for coaching on the channel. Tier 3 sub gets you a one-on-one session with me via Discord call. We get to build a team from scratch, almost like what we do here. And we get to hash out the EVs. We get to look at different matchups and just help you plan for those matchups along the way. So if you're interested, sign up for coaching. Look in the video description below. Click the link and join the channel with that tier 3 sub. Or click the link in the comment section. There is a pinned link in every video where you can still join the channel that way. So 2 different ways. And from there, you get to message me on Discord and we'll plan out a session from there. By the way, you can join the Discord too. We have over 1,000 members on our Discord, so you can feel free to join that and ask others for a little bit more assistance. You can spar with people there. We have a pretty good and growing community in there. So anyway, that's it for now, folks. We'll be back with another video in the next one. Peace out and have a good one.